Hello again, everyone. This is Jim here with another video update from the auxiliary studio. Uh, just Sunday morning, having a coffee. I went to Starbucks. I go to Starbucks pretty much every day, at least once. I have a coffee, a pike medium roast with heavy cream, and generally I sit in there and do what I call social media check, YouTube and Twitter, and just observe people. And, I can't help but just the way I am now, I kind of observe people and I'm observing the way they move and their age and their weight and my assessment of their health. It's just kind of the thing that I do now everywhere I go. The supermarket or whatever in public, I'm just kind of taking in the population, what people are doing, and what effect it might have on their life, and how they're eating, what they're buying, and that kind of thing. Not to be judgmental, just to be observant and to try to learn. And I bring it up because a few weeks ago I was sitting in Starbucks and and I just sort of had an epiphany. I mean, it's not anything earth-shattering, but thinking about the way people move. I was just watching a series of people come in, and these are people not terribly old, probably mid-60s, maybe close to 70, maybe, not much older than that, I'm sure. And even younger. And people aren't moving. They aren't moving well. First of all, they tend to have guts or overweight. They're shuffling. They're not swinging their arms much. Some of them are holding their back real stiff. Some of them tilted to one side, kind of shuffling. And then I started reflecting on my own health, and that, roughly, I made a video about a year ago when I talked about, goals, that I was kind of no longer having weight loss as my primary goal. And I remember that I said that flexibility and mobility and range of motion were goals of mine, And, I realized that I haven't done a lot to obtain those goals. I mean, I have done a little bit. I do a lot in terms of my running and various other calisthenics. I do morning push-up routine, but I haven't done much on the range of motion. And it's been occurring to me that I really need to look into that. And then just watching people, it just occurred to me that it's really important to maintain that range of motion. Strength is important, core strength is important, but especially as you age, there's a decline, and especially if you, like me, and pretty much spend a great majority of your life just sitting in front of a screen, either at work in a sedentary position at a desk, or at home in front of a TV or a computer screen. If you've done a lot of sedentary living, you've sacrificed some range of motion, especially like in your back and your core. Myself, those are my weak areas, my lower back, core strength, the trunk, and coupled with that, I've got really like tight posterior chain, hamstrings and glutes. Despite the fact I run all the time, that's given. I got certain areas where I'm really fit, and other areas where I'm weak, and I need to work on it. And so I'm just thinking about, as we age, the range of motion, if we don't take the time to maintain what we have, to maintain the range of motion, to maintain some kind of core strength, it atrophies and we lose it. And we just seed that territory and just give up on it. And then slowly it erodes. Slowly we find we can't move like we used to, so we just don't try anymore. We just don't. There are certain things we don't do. Certain types of bending or lifting or twisting that we just don't do. And that it just becomes a cascade. You can't do it, so it kind of hurts or gives you a twinge, so you just, I'm not going to do that. But if you give up, it's just going to continue to cascade, and it's continue to get worse, and it just hastens the decline, the aging decline. So this is kind of, the epiphany I had just watching people is that, it's really important that we maintain our body's range of motion, our flexibility, that we don't just give up. And it's building strength is part of it. It's important. I mean, a lot of tips that you see stressed are, you got to lift heavy things, you got to lift weights, and it's important to maintain strength, and especially core strength. By core, when I say core, I mean the midsection. The stomach, the back, what ties everything together in your body. So yeah, it's important. And so I've been working on this a few weeks. I just wanted to start off this video saying I've been doing now for several months a morning push-up routine, and I started. I'm embarrassed to say I started, and frankly, I think, push-ups to failure. I think I failed at 3 when I started. And now I'm up to, I think, my tops is like 23 I can do now. So I've made progress in these few months on the push-up front, and that's good. I can feel it. I can see some definition in my arms and my chest and my back. I can feel it. Feels good. And I've been doing it like I've done everything on my weight loss journey, just incrementally, just trying to take a small, to only do what I can do daily and not try to make any big overcommitments. I try to do things that I can sustain and just make a habit. And even at that, I found that I went too fast on the push-ups. I was doing them to failure, and actually I did find that I doing it every day and extending it into like some kind of dynamic, some planks also. I did fail I failed my stomach muscle, okay, which is the core, which you get into some straining when you're trying to hold a plank position for a long time. I kind of strained a muscle in my stomach there just from really too much stress. So I backed off a little bit, gave it a few days, and then came back and found out, oh, it's still there, so I had to back off again. And it just occurred to me that, you gotta, I hate to say it, but maybe it's my age now, I gotta really take things slow, and it's gonna take time to regain that strength, the core strength, and regain the flexibility and mobility, and I'm gonna have to take it slow. I'm kind of past that now. I'm back, just watching it, just taking it slow. If I feel a little bit of strain in my stomach, I back off, and maybe I take a day off of the push-ups and just do some other kinds of things. But I bring this up because I'm working in now more of the flexibility moves, more like even yoga. I'm not doing any yoga classes or anything. I'm just yoga moves or yoga positions. Just trying to regain the motion and flexibility and being able to utilize my body in the full range of motion. That's one of my goals now, and I just wanted to mention that that's part of my daily routine, and I don't go overboard with it. Right now, I'm spending no more than 10 minutes total in the morning on it, and I still do my running and other kind of my outdoor running. I like because I like to get a good sweat on, and I like to run. I like the sun, and fortunately now we got nice sunny days. I can run in the sun, so that continues. But that only works part of the body. That works. The aerobic system and the cardiovascular system, and it gives a good burn, but it doesn't establish a full range of motion and all the strength that I need. So I'm trying to strike a better balance. I guess that's all I'm saying with on the exercise front. And I just wanted to say that I think it's important for all of us to not cede the range of motion, not give up on it. Try to preserve it. Because as you get older, it's harder to reclaim if you've lost it through being sedentary. It's harder to reclaim that range of motion, and it's important because there's going to come a certain time in your life when, despite all of us are going to face it at some point. The effects of aging are going to mean we're going to lose this motion eventually. But why hasten it? Why hasten it? Why not put it off another 20, 30 years rather than just accept it all now, when we're young and should be living a decent life? Anyway, that was kind of the initial rant of this video today. It was mainly, I came on today just to give an update. I do a monthly update. Every like fourth Sunday, I check my vitals, like my blood pressure and weight and waist measurement, and I was just gonna give the details on that today. And then I had a few other things on my mind. One of them was like I just said, maintaining flexibility and range of motion. I'm doing that now, and I want to recommend it for everybody. Excuse me. The other thing on my mind, I just want to re-stress something that I've talked about a lot. But part of my channel here is to, first the goal was to tell my story, tell how I lost my weight, and put that information out there for other people to take in and maybe learn from, maybe motivate them to lose weight also, because I had given up and suddenly found out, boy, I didn't need to have given up. I shouldn't have given up. So I'm here to tell my story, and now it's just now I've told my story, and I just want to check in with these updates once in a while to say, yeah, I'm still here and I'm still maintaining, and everything's fine. Because one thing, the conventional wisdom is, number one, that you can't lose weight. All diets fail, and 95% of the people who lose weight will regain the weight, etc., etc. And I just want to I want to be accountable to myself and to my viewers. So I come on once in a while and say, hey, I'm still here, I'm still doing the same thing, and I'm still maintaining. So that's why I just document the journey now, is in terms of maintenance. That you can lose the weight. Not only did I lose the weight, but I'm maintaining it, and it's not any huge deal at this point. It's just my lifestyle. And I guess I the theme I want to talk about a little bit. I've talked about it before, that for the people out there that haven't started or maybe fallen off the wagon, I picture there's people that are struggling, and those are the people I tend to want to talk to the most, because I want to be the guy that's given a little bit of a push, and in that role, I've talked about it before, stepping out of your comfort zone. I think I made a whole entire video on that one time, the need to step out of your comfort zone. 3 years ago, if you would have told me that I was going to give up Coca-Cola and snack foods and ice cream and pizza and donuts and sugar in my coffee, and that I was going to, just eat a low carb diet or a zero carb diet, that I was going to take up, exercise on practically a daily basis, I would have laughed and said impossible. It's just not going to work. It's not going to be me. I'm just too much a creature of habit. It was too many things I was comfortable with there that I couldn't give it all up. And lo and behold, I didn't give it all up in one fell swoop. I gave it up incrementally, and now here I am. I've given up all that stuff, and I don't regret any of it. In fact, I can't imagine, why didn't I give it up sooner? I don't miss any of that stuff. No, I don't. I don't have a lifetime ban on pizza. I'll have pizza when and if I feel like it. I just don't feel like it very often. I probably haven't had pizza in over a year, but if the situation calls for it, if I'm with other people and there is pizza around, yeah, I'll have some pizza, but I don't go out of my way to have it. I love the meals I have. So stepping out of your comfort zone, you have to do that. And I have this analogy, when I talked about last week, I made a video on Big John, the fasting fat man, and his incredible journey. He's really out of the comfort zone. I mean, he's really, I call it like walking the plank, and you're not walking the plank to your death or whatever. You're walking away from, he's walking basically out of his comfort zone. And my visualization on that is, you're on the top of you're at a mountain, and there's a huge gorge. It's like 1,000 feet down to rocks and a river, and it's I picture it like a foggy, dark atmosphere, so you can't really see the bottom, and there's a narrow, like 6-inch plank that extends like 200 feet to the other side, and you've got to get to the other side, and you're wondering, how in the world am I going to get to the other side? And you're nervous, you're fearful, but you just start, and you can't really see. It's foggy, and you're walking, and you're not sure what's ahead of you, but suddenly you get started, and then you're a little ways out there. You're 10 feet away from the shore, and now you're above. You've started, and you're unsure what to do. And sometimes you get started, and you freeze up, and you think, "Oh my God, I better go back." And then you have all these doubts. But the thing is to keep taking the baby steps. Take another step. Okay, take another step. Take another step. And it seems like an impossible journey to get across this gorge. It's dark, it's a long way down, you can't see, you're not sure. There's a lot of uncertainty, but step by step by step by step, suddenly you see the other side, and you scramble up and you get on the shore there and you find it's like an oasis. You can take a breath and you take it all in, and you look back and you see where you came from, and you think, wow, okay, I did it. I've conquered. I've done something. Okay, and then you think, wow, it wasn't that bad. I just needed to have faith in myself, and so your journey continues, and maybe you go on for some time, a month or two, and then you come to the next challenge, the next gorge that you got to walk across. You might have to do this. You might have to challenge yourself time and again, and give up something, and walk. Like I'm saying, is like venture into the unknown, leave your comfort zone, and then looking back, it will seem like, what was I worried about? Why did I think I had to have all these comfort foods, or that I had to eat all the time? I had to have my snacks. Why did I define myself in such a rigid way? So I guess that's my point. I'm here trying to be the motivator or a pusher for the people who need it. Maybe you need it, maybe you don't. But I think it's important. Just keep redefining yourself, and keep walking into the unknown, and keep doing things that it feels like it's impossible, and it's not you, and it's leaving something that's comfortable to you. Go ahead and do it. It's not the biggest thing in the world. Food is not a big thing. You'll find new foods that you like. You'll find new habits that you like. Just keep moving forward. Anyway, I don't want to belabor that point. I guess I'll kind of wrap this up by talking about this video today. I mentioned the monthly metrics. I'm going to show, I haven't showed my weight loss graphs for a while. I've been recording my weight now for about 3 years, and I'll show the full graph. It shows the big plunge, and then there's like 900 days in there now, so it's quite a bit of data. And I don't know if it's real visible, but you can see the big plunge in the beginning, and then kind of a slow down, and then the maintenance phase. And then now I've got another, just a weight loss maintenance graph, which is zoomed in to a much narrower range, and you can see I'm calling my my maintenance phase. It began like April of 2018, so I'm like 14 months into maintenance, let's say. And here's what that looks like. And as you can see, I'm in a certain zone. I think the lowest I've weighed in was like 162 and change, and that was aided because I forgot to weigh in before I went for a run, and like on a Sunday morning. I went for a run and then came back, so I was a little lower than I would normally have been if I weighed before the run, because of the fluid loss. And I think at the upper end, I tend to top off around 167, and I have it's like a weekly cycle. I tend to go down on the weekends, like Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Well, Sunday will usually be a low, and then it'll accumulate during the week. Throughout the week, up to around Thursday is usually like my high. And this, I believe, largely is to do with my GI regulatory cycle. I'm not regular in a daily sense anymore, but I'm more regular. It's more like a weekly cycle, and this up and down has to do with that. And I'm not going to go into detail on it, but that's just the way it is. It's my carnivore lifestyle, no fiber lifestyle. My regularity is now measured on a weekly scale, and it doesn't bother me in the least. But that's it. I'm in this range, and I'm pretty proud of this maintenance graph. I'm originally, my goal was to crack 180, and then I set another goal. I said, I'm gonna maintain around a 165, and I wasn't quite sure about that, but lo and behold, I've been maintaining around that 165, up and a little above, a little below that for some time now, and I'm not actively trying to maintain that weight. That's just what it is. This is not a struggle. It's not a challenge to maintain that weight. That's just my lifestyle now. That's where it shakes out. And I put on some muscle. I know my legs. I mean, all the running I've done, and now with the push-ups and that, I've I don't have pictures to show you, but I've got muscular legs, quite muscular, and I'm starting to put on some muscles on the upper torso as well. So I'm probably losing. I still got some, some excess skin. I don't know if that's dissipating. Maybe it is a little bit, very slowly. So I think there's still some body recomposition going on, but that's a slow process. The other metrics are nothing's really changing. My blood pressure this morning was 90/60 with a 41 pulse. I mean, that, I know to most people that's going to seem low. I think that's just with all the running I do, and being pretty healthy, I have a feeling I'm healthy. This is not medication or anything. This is just, did I say 90? It's like 95/60. Yeah, I don't want to give a false indicator there. It's 95/60 with a 41 pulse. And my waist, I measure my waist, and that's maintaining. I measure in two zones, the top of the hip, and then at the widest, at the mid hip. And I do that because it gives a better balance, because the skin hangs out, at the widest area, and so I want to kind of have a way to track, the skin. It's hard to know if the skin is dissipating or not, the extra skin. And so that's why I maintain two measurements, and those haven't changed. I got, it's 35 at the top and like 38 at the maximum, with all skin included. So 35 and 38. That's not changing. So bottom line, nothing is changing. The weight is stable. Blood pressure is stable. The things I track, nothing is changing, and so there's not a lot to report. I keep eating the same thing, and my diet hasn't changed. My weight hasn't changed. Nothing is changing. I have achieved better fitness. Over the winter, I did a lot of HIIT type running. I'm not doing that now, but like I said, I've adopted more of in the terms of mobility and flexibility and range of motion, and kind of let the running take a back seat. I don't have any huge running goals right now. Just that I want it part of my lifestyle. I'm not trying to be Mr. Marathoner or anything, or Mr. High Speed. I just want to enjoy going out and doing a run, having a good sweat, I run for between 30 and 90 minutes. That's Sunday morning. I'll do a 90-minute run, and I like that. It's like my weekly. It's my time stamp on the week. I do a long run, and during the week there'll be some 30 to 45 to an hour run. I'll mix it up, and I'll take off typically one day a week. But I guess I'm trying not to go overboard on any one particular aspect on the calisthenics or the range of motion or the stretching or the running. I try not to let any one aspect of it overwhelm me or get me down or get me sore. Just I want to just do it incrementally on a daily basis so that it becomes habit. It's just part of my life. That's kind of the approach I took on the weight loss, and that's the approach I want to take on the maintenance also. Just make incremental changes that become lifestyle habits, lifestyle changes. So I see I've been talking now a half an hour, so I better cut this off. I don't know if I made a lot of sense. Just some rambling thoughts and lifestyle updates from me this week. I hope everyone that listens to me is doing well. If you got questions, let me know about me or about anything, whatever. I hope you're doing well. That's all I can say. It's going to be it's June. We're now into June, and we finally have a little bit of decent weather here in Chicago. And we're going to have sun today. Not overly warm, like 70 degrees, but mostly sunny. So I'm going to be in the sun today. I've been getting a decent amount of sun, and I love that. That's definitely something that's part of my lifestyle routine, is now incorporate the sun as much as possible. I love that, and I'll continue to do that. So everybody, I'm going to end it now. I hope you're having a great day, whatever you're doing, and I'm going to sign off until next time. This is Jim. Take care, everyone. Goodbye now.